Ooh, that looks tasty.
Welcome folks, today the Hungry Gamer is back with another mini review, and today we are talking about Viticulture World, the co-op expansion. And before I go any further, I just want to say that this is a little bit more of a first impressions because, well, I haven't played through all of it. I've only played through a couple of the different scenarios that you can do, and it's still a little bit early. However, from looking through some of the other components and what I've researched and what I've read, I do feel like my first impression will likely carry through. But just keep in mind that I have not played this game 8, 9, 10 times at this point. So keep that in mind. So to start out, I want to talk a little bit, just a tiny bit about viticulture in its base form. Now, viticulture is a game that I don't really like very much. And it's not that it's a bad game as a whole. And there's actually some stuff that I think is actually really, really cool. I actually really like the two different seasons. I like how you're going from basically one entire worker placement game to another worker placement game. I like the aging mechanic. I think that's very cool, and the way all that kind of comes together. It makes it a relatively thematic Euro, which is, if you know me, you know I love a thematic Euro, and it does a decent job at that. However, it has one big thing that I don't like very much about viticulture, and that is I feel like it's a very fragile game. And what I mean by that is it is pretty easy to have your entire plan just busted by one play that someone else makes. And that may actually mess you up for an entire 2 seasons that you're just now scrambling to try to make what you can out of your turn. And it's always bothered me. And it would frustrate me, or I would be in the position where I would have to decide, do I want to be the person that totally smashes somebody's 2 turns, or just do something that's a little less optimal? And people love viticulture, and I see why it just never worked for me. So that brings me to Viticulture World. What Viticulture World does is each game you play, you have a little deck of cards, and that's going to represent a different region. It might be North America, South America, whatever. And as you go through, you will have different challenges everyone has to get to, and different minor rules variants that you're going to have. In addition to that, each turn or each round, you're going to have the option to put out upgraded worker placement spots. And you're going to be working together to try to accomplish this goal. And you're going to be working together to try to hit the threshold of fame and the threshold of points before the game ends. And to do this, you're still playing basic viticulture. Same type of game, however, you're going to be working together to figure out which of these spaces are we going to try to upgrade? Which ones are going to help us the most? When are you going to use your grande worker so you can go and share a space and then maybe give supplies or give things to another player so that they can do what it is that they need to do moving forward? And really, that's kind of the core of the game, with the exception of each different module has something different about it. Minor spoiler here, in one of the early ones, there's I can't remember what it's called, but I'm called a little fame track, a bunch of cards you put out, and every time you do certain things, you get to bounce up the little fame track, and you get to pick short little paths of where you're going to go, and they'll give you different bonuses as you go through it. And there's various events that happen each round, which might allow you to go up additional times on the track. But it's just really cool, and it's just enough to make each module really feel different. And so altogether, what you have is you have this same fragile system that you're building, but you don't have someone else mucking it up. In fact, you have someone else helping you do it, or multiple people helping you do it, help keep your fragile engine that you're putting together going, so everybody can build these little engines to accomplish what is usually a pretty hard goal. We did not find the game easy at all when we were playing through it. It's a very, very challenging puzzle, and we didn't even play any of the hard ones. And so what I'm saying here is Viticulture World makes me actually want to play viticulture. I'm not interested in playing viticulture in general. If someone asked me to play, I'd be like, oh, okay, if you really want to. Is there anything else we can play? And because of the reason I said, but now that fragility becomes a strength when you're playing Viticulture World. I love that. I love the challenge of it. I love the upgrading of the different spaces that you can do and how you have to make those decisions. I love the different events that come out. All of that I just think works really, really well. However, doesn't mean I don't have any quibbles. And so here are my few quibbles specifically about this expansion. I've already talked about viticulture in general. And that is, it seems to me that you are very much at the mercy of what spaces you can upgrade. Because in my mind, and it may be, if I was better at the game, this would be proven wrong, but it seems to me that all spaces are not created equal, and sometimes the ones that are really, really good to upgrade, they just might not come up at all, or not till the end of the game, and there's nothing you can do about it. And so suddenly the game is going to be a little more challenging. So there's some swinginess as far as that goes. And then the only other quibble that I have with it is, I think that the game has a sweet spot of 3 or 4. And I think when you get there, and maybe even 3 actually, and I think when you get there, the game is slightly easier. I think at 2-player, it's a real challenge. I suspect at 1-player, it's probably the same challenge. I don't know how the AI works. I didn't play solo. And so, but I think when you open up that additional worker placement spot for everything, even though you have more people out, even though you have more players putting meeples out there, I think it probably is a little bit easier at that level. Now, that's neither necessarily good or bad, but just kind of something to keep in mind. If you know you're going to play this game always at 2 players, then you're going to be in for more of a challenge. I think that is my impression. But there you have it, folks. That is Viticulture World. I think this is a really cool expansion. I like the idea. I like the execution. I like the variety. As I said, it makes viticulture into a game that I actively want to play, and can't get much better than that, I think. So there you have it, folks. That is Viticulture World. As always, if you found this video useful, please like, subscribe, and share. Thank you so much for watching. Have a wonderful, wonderful day.